Good evening, one and all, and welcome to round one of the Westpac Women's Premiership. I'm Nick Neary. Joining me in the box tonight, Dave McRae. Lovely to have you in, and it's the start of a new season, and it's the start of a couple of new teams.
Yeah, it is the start of a new season. It's not the Fuel to Go Play Premierships, just be confused. It is the Westpac Women's Premiership, and the Bears are back, mate. The Bears are back. They're not just back in the men's competition, not just back in the NRL franchise, but they're back in the women's comp as well. We've got two new teams tonight. We've got the Bears and the Dogs, which haven't been in the women's comp for quite some time, so I'm looking forward to seeing these teams go at each other tonight. Yeah,
absolutely. We know you're a Willagee fan and a big Bears fan all around town. I'm going to be a Kalamunda fan all season. We don't get the Rockingham Sharks in the picture for the last couple seasons, and the closest match I can get is the almighty Bulldogs of Kalamunda, but there's a lot of unknowns for them coming into this fixture. Look, we'll be completely transparent with you. We don't have an entire team list for them. I've got a couple names, but it's going to be about identifying talent through these first couple of rounds. On the other side of the coin, though, we do have a very strong and full-looking team list for their opponents here this evening in the Willagee Bears. And probably the ones I want to touch on before we get into the thick of things is going to be Ruby Hodgson in the centre of the ground. We'll be working really hard for them. I'm interested to see how that role is going to play out for her this year. Bring in Bert Poilau as well. Might just be starting to receive a little bit of praise towards the end of this year. So that's your early marker for the season. We're just going to have to take a look around the field and see what we get presented from Kalamunda though, Dave.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise packet. We're actually pretty close to kick-off now. You see there on the screen the fixtures, only two for today. The earlier game was the grand final rematch. There was a debate about whether we would do that game between you and me and everyone else watching. I'm actually glad we did, because you could tell the viewers what the score was for that game.
72-0 Ellenbrook Rabbitohs get over the Joondalup Giants, so that's not a premiership hangover. That is still on tour if you were the Joondalup Giants.
Probably doesn't make up for last year's grand final loss, but I tell you what, that sends a message, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be messing around like they did at the start of last season, Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. They were touch and go for the first 6 or 7 rounds of the year, playing with opposition, playing with their lineup, and well, that's the clearest message of all. 72-0 with a perfect conversion rate this evening as well. 12 from 12 for Kaylee Thompson, if the Play Rugby League app is telling no lies, which is pretty impressive. The only blemish on Kaylee Thompson's afternoon is 2 tries. Didn't get a hat-trick to go with her 12 straight conversions. Looks like we're almost set there out in the middle now to get this one underway. The Willagee Bears are in red. The Kalamunda Bulldogs are in the blue and white, fitting. But if you're talking about Kalamunda as a traditional coloured club, they probably would have wanted that red and black strip, and they weren't able to get it off the Willagee Bears for this season.
Well, maybe. Well, the Bears, of course, the Bears are the Bears colours. So I'll be interested, because there's debate about what the Perth Bears or the Western Bears, whatever they're going to be called, whether they're going to add a touch of yellow. I hope they do. I'm pretty sure they will. You kind of have to. So does that mean the Willagee Bears will follow suit?
I think there'll be one kit that gets rolled out sometime early next year.
There may be a conversation about it, surely.
Well, there's going to be a lot of kit that gets purchased throughout this state over the coming years if the state governments and the NRL can pull their finger out and get this deal signed away. Sounds like they're closer than ever. A bit of that yellow maybe, Dave, from the Respect Referees jersey.
Yeah, the gold. Yeah, the WA gold. I reckon, because of course the red and the black, which I've always liked, add the touch of yellow. It just happens to be the same colours as a former franchise that used to run around in Perth as well. So there's a bit of continuity there. But we'll have to wait and see. Probably another week or two until all its formalities are in place. But there's plenty of talk in the news about players and coaches. I noticed today there was chats about a Burgess potentially. Don't know if I'm necessarily in favour of that, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, I've got my hand up for a terrible Panthers season, and maybe you end up with the double Cleary transfer. They both come west.
That'd be
Coach and son.
You bring Mary Fowler to the glory then as well.
But this is round one in the 2025 Westpac Women's Premiership underway. Kalamunda Bulldogs will get the first touch of the footy. Pretty strong line defence coming up. Zara Somali had probably a breakout season last year as well. We'll look to build on that some more. This is Nani. And then I do need to check that one. Looking for some early meters. It'll be interesting to see what style of footy. Both these teams come in with a pretty big forward pack. So expect this one to be played very much through the centre of the ground early. A little testing phase. A little loose error. Ball adjudicated backwards in the hands of the Kalamunda Bulldogs fullback. Only progressed about 4.5 metres. Haven't made it to halfway yet, and they're halfway through the set. Slow play of the ball. Smith hands it out on the right. They've gone absolutely nowhere in their first set, bringing themselves into this competition, the Kalamunda Bulldogs. Let's hope the kick gets some metres. Finds a little pocket of space in behind for Acker to run back onto. Good ability just to wheel around the first couple of defenders, and we'll settle in the middle and expect this to be a little bit faster coming back the opposite way, Dave.
You'd expect so. I think they've got a bit of toe in the Bears lineup. I want to see them use the wings at the moment. They're running through the corridor. They're both new teams just trying to test each other out. But again, through the corridor, she's a good line break here. But not a lot of use of the wings at the moment. Takes it, quick play the ball, straight from dummy half, run straight at the line. She's found half a gap, she's through. She's got a number on her side, they're going to score. And Nick Neary, you called it from nothing. You called it would be fast, and look at that.
Yeah, it's a pretty good try to start us off. It was two good back-to-back plays by Olivia Willagee in the number 9 jersey, going straight through the centre of the ground. Found Bert Palau. A lot of new names to learn for this new season, so bear with us. In good time, we'll get them right for you. But Caitlin Bert Palau scores the first one with the Willagee Bears re-entering the competition.
It's just half a line break too, so first tackle, it wasn't much there, just a bit lax there. Didn't hold the tackles in the first instance, but then just had the toe duck to her left and her right. In the end, she didn't need to do much to beat the fullback and under the posts.
First conversion of the night. Looks like it's got the goods with the kicking duties there. Is Adrian Acker. Dots that one over nicely. One converted try to nil. Kalamunda Bulls will be kicking off. Kalamunda Bulldogs. They need to put up a little bit more through the middle to get through this first half and the rest of the season, if you want to look at it that deeply. Almost set back at halfway to go again. Set out pretty evenly. This one's going to go high left. Screaming kick. Caught them a little bit off guard. They circle around in and behind the footy. Find a little bit of space for Kanikosa. Maybe the deep kickoff not going to be the play. They've come in with a big pack here. Bulldogs said it once already. So need to be mindful of where they're going to kick the footy. If it's going to be that deep, they've got to be really switched on the chase. A little shrug off the tackle from Hiko Kidder. Good metres gained for the Bears here. They want to look for a quick play of the ball. Numbers are on the left-hand side of the ground. Can draw and pass through a couple here. Somali's outside ball was just a little bit too deep. Had to go back to collect.
Is it offside?
Might have just left a little bit early or high.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head 5 minutes ago, Nick. They do seem to be faster, but they're not spreading the ball. That numbers there on the left. Just a bit of stagnant ball movement. Not as quick as they need to be at the play, I reckon. Just open up this forward pack to Kalamunda. I'll tell you what, the carpet's looking good up there at Admiral Park. And there's another line break. Punches through. She's got through 3 or 4. Down on that, almost in that far wing. Slow play the ball. Kalamunda doing well at slowing it up. Thought about going left. Goes right through the runner. Can't get through that one. Dragged down. We're inside the 30 now, are we? We're coming off a standard start for the offensive run. Goes straight into the marker. Willagee again looking strong in this set. Again off a standing start. Ducks inside. First tackle broken. Second tackle broken. Spins out of the third. And over for the fourth. Nick, I know what's going on, but I'm calling the tries. I feel like I'm taking all the prizes here.
No. There's plenty of chocolates to go around this season. I was just more studying the way they're setting up this evening. Kalamunda Bulldogs in defence. They're pretty tight in the centre. That wasn't going to be the issue this time round. It's very vertical, very up front. going to have to get underneath a few of these runners if they're going to be stopping them. Otherwise, the meters, they're just going to seem to roll through the middle of the ground. You'll be backpedaling all night. And the Bears have identified it early. I think they're looking pretty good here, the Willagee Bears, and with a full list, and if ACCA can be kicking these over all season, I actually would be putting a couple warning flags up already.
I made the point that they weren't using the wings, but if they're scoring up the guts, you probably don't need to, giving your kicker every opportunity to do that and convert second.
2 from 2. Very handy start in this game for the Willagee Bears. A good introduction into the competition. Probably the strongest ball runner of this game so far has been Zara Suamali. Following it up nicely again there.
Timing.
Thank you. Fair bit of work has gone in at Willagee. We have a part of the off-season, both in the men's program and the women's program. Of course, the boys are playing in first grade as well. That's our game of the week in the men's comp tomorrow. As we say, run straight at the forward or the defensive pack there. She's only one way she was going, and that's right up the guts. They've got numbers here on the left now. Thoughts about going inside. Spins out of the first. It's going to take 3 of them to get her down. And they look dangerous when they have ball in hand. And I'll tell you what, Kalamunda at the moment, they haven't touched the ball for a while. Again, the second run in the set. Runs straight at the line. Questions asked by the 19 in the headgear from Kalamunda, the referee. I'm not sure what she was asking there. But again, made good metres gained. Straight from dummy half. She wants to go for a run. Everyone wants to go for a run. Spins out of that. She's got numbers on her right. Another great set here from Willagee. Kalamunda just need to slow this down. Numbers again on the right. She can hold it up, or she could just go herself, which she will in the end. That was almost like a car crash. You knew what was going to happen, but you just had to stand back and watch. And again, I've called the try again, Nick.
Caitlin Polo scores over in the corner. You can take all the fame, Dave. I don't need any of it. And I think they just need to get their hands on the ball. They haven't had the ball for 10 minutes. And look, if you're going to stop this, the first couple of tackles in the set were good enough. They were still getting marched a couple of metres. But I think the actual good point out of the 3 you made through that entire set is actually pace, Dave. They need to lie on these tackles until they get penalised.
Yeah, just to
give a bit of time to set up in behind this. Some pretty serious chats happening in the in-goal area already this evening. 3 tries to 0. It's 16-0 and first chance out on the right-hand side for Adrian Acker. If she slots this, there's going to be a couple of other nervous kickers in the comp. This one could be from the clouds. It's not going to get there.
That's the first one she's missed. Yeah, they need to slow that play down, do what they can within the rules. Just say, you see on the camera now that they
16-0 in them.
Look, I'd be talking about their tackling as well. So I think they're a bit too high at the moment. So come down. I mean, hit the legs. You have pointed out you're looking at the two sides. Willagee clearly have more pace. So
it's a test of good coaching here early, I find. If they can bounce back a little bit in this game, it'll be a shine of a good system, because you could tell them to tackle lower. You could tell them to do probably 6 or 7 other things. What do you pick? You got to pick 1 or 2 as a coach.
Yeah. You can't do
and
it,
I think slows the play.
Yeah.
The tackles will get made.
Well, if you slow the play down, then you're giving your forwards an opportunity to hold those tackles instead of having to, have the runners come out of at 100 mile an hour and spin out of them. And they could slow that down. They can get their line speed up.
Nice little kick return opportunity again. Going to give the front rowers another big crack at the line. Strong to take on the challenge was Karameen Marangi. Little deke out on the left-hand side. Another sizable runner through the centre of the ground. We don't have the 20. I apologise for Willagee. Certainly looking the good so far in this fixture. Samoa's pass on the outside, pretty good. Just gets through the next set of hands. And Kalamunda are going to get a chance with ball in hand.
Finally, they get to touch the ball. They just got to complete a set here, I think. Just get up the ground.
They're in the opposition half. Goal 1 here is dumping this as close as you can to the opposition try line. Anybody's guess who's going to take the roll of the ball. Get it through now. We want to see some urgency on attack. Hiko Kidda takes the first nicely. 4 involved in the tackle, so there's got to be overlap run somewhere. 2 passes out left might be the play. Instead,
good tackle.
Michelle Winder gets crunched backwards. I'm pretty sure that's not Michelle Winder, so I will not abide by the 15 on that team list. Nice little 2 pass out the right. They're on the opposition 40 halfway through the set. Anything direct will be good here. Had a wide drive backwards nicely. Good commitment and numbers in the tackle. When's the first little slip up from Willagee going to become in this game? That's going to be the question that gets asked soon. Tapper gets tackled nicely. They've only made a net gain of 3 metres in the last 3 tackles. No real urgency to play the ball. Gives the line a chance to run straight at them. Cuts this kick a little bit short. Forces Kenny Kosa to come forward onto the ball. Bounces around all wobbly, but that'll still be 6. And the turnover to the Willagee Bears.
Well, they got close to the line in the end. That kick, it was that chase that actually got them there. So that's good. There was some urgency there. We called for it. It came at the very end of the set. At least they've got it. Willagee again, the ball on hit. You see, as soon as they get it, they're urgent. You'll have to tell me who that number is, Nick. I don't have it. The 6 for Willagee. That's
Zoe Gillard.
Zoe Gillard has been impressive in his first 12 minutes or so. And that's better, slowing the play down from Kalamunda. But they've got to then get that defensive line speed up and put pressure on them. They want to go quick to Willagee. Here we go, the kick up with the magic boot. She's back, ducked off 1, ducked off 2, still going. Drawing that defensive line in, great run. And again, just off 3 tackles, they find themselves within scoring position. The numbers here on the left, surely they could score this again, they will. That was just too easy. So he brings it around and, I'll tell you what, I've got to call that out, Nick. They're just watching. Oh, no.
I don't like starting...
I don't like that body language.
I don't like starting the season on negatives, but there's a lot of hands on hips for your first cap in a Bulldogs jersey.
Yeah, that's not great.
Kenny Kosa was able just to wheel that one around in front of the faces of 9, 10 of them, all within the 5 metres. Makes it 20-0 with a kick to come that Akka appreciates, but Akka's walked this back 20 metres.
She has to, yeah. Has she gone in on an angle? She doesn't look like she's dead in front here.
I think it was scored just outside the left upright, but still, there's a lot of distance on this.
And she's done it.
On the arc, that was the top of the arc. She knows her distance well. Let's keep that to ourselves.
Should never doubt.
3 from 4 for Adrian Akka's boot, brings it up to 22-0.
So this is just sort of replay there, this is the hardest thing to coach in sport at any level, is just getting your team's mindset up. I mean, there's only so much a coach can do, and that period, that passage of play there, they won't want to see that back again, and I hope we don't see it again for tonight. But how you then get, as we see on the peripheral, some of the support staff there for Kalamunda, that is a big job to get these girls back. And even that, I mean, what they're doing at the moment, they're looking like we're in the 58th minute with 40 points on the board. So there's a bit of work to do above the shoulders at the moment, I think.
Let's get up there.
There we go. I think that was for the Bears, though. There's a fair bit of...
Bears fan, but we need that energy.
We do. They need it for Kala.
Another decent
she's got
kick.
A good boot on her.
We need to point these ones to the sidelines maybe. This will work out though. Forces Hodgson back in goal, but it's got a head of steam. Palms one off. Trying to break through 3 or 4. Big cruncher of a tackle. Manages to gain about 25 metres. Trying to quickly get back to the feet. Took a little impetus with the tackler just giving a shove after the line. Good cut back on the inside, Brianna Young. Penalty's going to come just a little bit high, driving the shoulder in.
Yeah, no arms.
Clear this one out to about halfway. start to build again. Willagee Bears. Just figuring out who
I'll tell you what,
is
that the first penalty? Oh, no, it's the second penalty. I mean, they've been clean. We had one for a high and one for a no arms, a shoulder in. I mean, it's actually been good. We've gone 16 minutes, so halfway through the first, and only 2 penalties, so that's one positive.
I wonder where this is going to end up. Right on halfway this set.
Bang!
That's the inspiration.
Yes.
Out of the line, put a hit on. Force the Willagee Bears backwards. You see the Bears respond though. Straight up into the line, Stowers off the right boot. Gets around that shooting defender. Everyone's got to be coming up with this. Oh, allowed to walk straight through the line. Amar Titty.
Around the legs, that's good.
On the 20. Setting up nicely, Brianna Young. Splits the 2 again. Ooh, and I thought we still had 5 metres to go. He's gone straight through.
Gone straight through.
And that's why we let you call the tries, Dave, because I've got no idea where
well,
the
she
line
had it.
is.
She was only going to go one way. She's been impressive before. She's only going to go one way. And when you have a defensive unit at the moment that is taking its time to get its structure right, it's got its hands on hips, it just gives you more confidence as a runner to go and hit that line hard.
We got 1 tackle in that set, though. That was almost the spark.
Yeah.
Well,
it sounds like there's a good crowd there for Calla, because it was a good cheer for them. But it's been a while. We've got obviously Kaylee Thompson for Ellenbrook with the boot. We had an absolute superstar for the Titans a few seasons ago.
Went over to Kiwiland.
But we could have another superstar here with the boot. She's done that. She's done
Fair enough. I don't like it, but it's going through.
It's going through. So that's 3 from 4. As we see again, so she's just got the ball. She's gone straight through. She's like, "Yep, I'll have it. Give that to me." And I'm no expert, but just that the tackles there. She had her arms free, which just allowed her to reach out and plant it down. So there's some structural stuff I think needs to go on in the Dogs camp around their tackling. I did see some lower tackles in that set, dragging the Bears down, which stopped some of that run. But what they need to do here is not allow Willagee, because they've got a good kick. Whoever's taking these kickoffs is doing well. They're putting it deep. They just got to allow Willagee, or not allow Willagee, to run 100 metres up the ground again in one set.
Right there.
12 minutes, 11 minutes to go in this half.
You've sent me in a spin trying to figure out the 2022-23 best player of the year. Was my favourite player at one point, and since she left to Kiwiland, I've dropped her name in this off-season.
Yes.
And I'm trying to figure it out. Willagee Bears
diminutive little player. I think she was quite young.
Amazing.
As well.
Yeah, played
amazing
both codes.
Player. Got, I think it was their first or second season, the Titans. A lot of her effort managed to get them into I think I got them into their first finals.
I know everything about her but her name.
Yes.
Even knew she was out there till
Just
9 o'clock one night.
Just jump online and let us know.
Kicking in the rain.
Kicking in the rain, that's right. She was
inspirational stuff.
She was fanatical at it. I remember you interviewed her at the Ken Allen as well.
Suamali in the meantime, over past halfway. Sorry, it was Akka, not Suamali. Now through Bert Poilau. Up to the 20. Can they get a hold set here, Kalamunda? 5th and last. They're relatively set behind the ball, but width will be the question. They need to pick an option first, Willagee Bears, to get through. Kick goes high, falling around. No, absolutely no one gets back, and Kanikoso goes over the line. Uncontested, scores a try, and we will not hold the set out. 32 with a kick to come.
I did think that was going to go dead, but obviously the Kalamunda girls thought that too. It's a tough task, and I don't envy the support staff at Calla. to see. Just saw on the peripheral there was some chats going on the bench. I don't think they've got a big bench either. Haven't seen how many. Well, Willagee's clearly got more. So the other thing as well is these Calla girls are going to have to run out the whole game, and that's going to be tough as well. Well, that was a worst kick of the day. Wasn't watching the ball, which hit her boot, but conversion's still pretty good.
I'm throwing in the towel there. Looked through the last 4 years of Goose Step wrap-ups and I must have missed it entirely.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to send a message out.
Bring her back.
I'm sure someone's watching.
If the Bulldogs have got anything in the checkbook, they might want to get it open for it. Very casually back to halfway here. As we said before, the first game this evening, 72-0, the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs came back in some pretty mean force, reproving to the competition that they don't want to be messed with. Don't have all the try scorers, but definitely 2 to Thompson, definitely 2 to Rungy Clare. 1 for Simpkins, 1 for Tuamali, and the rest are not available, but all 12 converted.
Well, so basically Simpkins scored on their return, is that right?
Correct.
Don't know what it is with the Westpac Women's Premiership. You have a child, you come back and you play well. I don't know.
This is a better kick. A little more directional to the outside of the field. Just pins the Willagee Bears over in the corner for a moment.
That's better.
Nice tackle laid on by Potawai.
That's held referee. That's better. Slowing the play down.
Keep it there for an extra second. Follow up with a good effort on the inside here. Forwards will do just that. Eventually to ground. And that's slow enough again. Haven't had to put too much mystery into their play just yet. Have the Willagee Bears. They're happy to go through the middle. The marker doesn't know where to stand. Got on the wrong side of that one. Forces this one into a one-off tackle. Set up nicely again here, the Bears. Just trying to break away is Alex. Inside ball's really good for Brianna Young. Straight through again. Hard to stop late in the sets. They just keep coming.
It's just that last 20, 15 that... And they're not spreading the ball much. They're just going straight up the guts.
We had one in the corner on the right-hand side. The rest has been pretty standard stuff. Could we see 272 nils in a night?
I hope not. I hope not.
144 to zip.
So we've got who's got the bye this week? It's Freo.
Fremantle Roosters.
Fremantle.
For some reason on the ladder says they've played a game as well. Oh, they've got the 2 points for the bye. That makes a lot of sense.
Do you get 2 points for the bye, do you?
2 points for the bye, 4 for the win. That's another conversion. Only the one miss still. Packers having a pretty good night of it.
Just a wry smile as well.
Probably a cheeky PB. 5 in a night.
Say it again on replay.
Good triple pump. Kept the defender engaged for a long time.
Could have flown a 747 through that gap. So tomorrow, as we mentioned in the pre-game, we're again with Willagee. We've got the Bears' first home game in first grade since they've been back. Looking forward to that clash. The last game we saw was actually at this ground against Joondalup, and they look fantastic. Plenty going on in rugby league in Western Australia. Do you try something different here, Nick? Do you try for a short kick or?
I think it's relatively shorter. I'll still want to kick it full length, but just right towards the sidelines. It just can't be down the middle. That's the one.
There you go.
Force a bit of an awkward play on the sideline.
That's
That's fine. That's under the knee.
And the ball's come out.
Loose.
There we go.
Little change
Kalamunda.
Gives the Kalamunda Bulldogs. Let them play.
So it's just our first scrum of the
Season.
evening and the season. Well, for us anyway. Callum feed. Bit of urgency there as well. Just caused it's probably, they haven't put Willagee under much pressure, but when you do. Trainer's just lingering there. Referee wants him off, or her off. So they are inside Bears territory. They've just got to get further up the ground. Here we go. Spreading this wide. Lost the handle on that. Do they clean it up? No, they don't. Oh, just willing them. And Willagee wants to go quick. Ducks inside. He's the goal kicker. The girl with the golden boot. She's made 30 already. She's still going. Still going. Finally brought down. And on the first tackle, they've made 30, 40 metres off a standing start. They can afford to do that at the moment. Now she puts the afterburners on. She's got numbers here on the right. And she's just stepped out there. I was about to say she was half committed to that tackle. In the end, it was enough just to push her out.
That's probably their first stop of the half, though, as well. Counts as a stop, getting them in touch. Long way to go from deep in the half. If you've been playing along with our game of trivia for the last 15 minutes as well, Samantha Wood.
Samantha Wood, there, yes, there you go.
Thanks for playing.
How did you find that? Did you Google it?
Nah, I just got the right year. I can give you a more self-indulgent answer if you want.
I'm sure she's watching, so...
Hello, Samantha.
G'day to Sammy, wherever you might be. She lost the handle on that. Oh, did it go backwards? No, it didn't.
If you want the self-indulgent answer, I searched 202 Ken Allen Award, Nick Neary, since I was the MC, and the article that popped up was the correct one. Wasn't invited back the next year, though, so read into that.
Yes.
It was a fun afternoon.
No, we've got old mate that does it at the moment, so I'd like to see a trio do it. I'd like to see Donnie Bell, you. I'd like to see get James Sullivan if he's watching, get him back. That's a good tackle. Throws it down. Eat some grass.
I was only the medical sub for Steve at late notice. Couldn't handle it late at night. It was past his bedtime. Samoa can't quite get through this hole.
Almost lost the handle on that.
Tried to get the arms free. Marty gets skipped on the outside. Runs through a second line. Kanikosa outside again. Simple numbers on the outside. Emily Mills gets it along in the corner.
And I'm just going to talk about the basics again as well. When you're struggling to bring the player down with their tackles, so that's something they clearly got to work on at training. And when it takes 3 or 4 of them for one ball carrier, you're going to have that overlap. So, and there's no physical reason why they can't be tackling well. I mean, we've pointed out they're a much bigger side. And it's not like they're being opened up. They're just not holding their tackles. They're not bringing the ball carrier to ground.
Just a little. It doesn't look unskilled out there. I just think a little bit underdone. The comms,
they look
separation,
a bit underdone, yeah.
Especially in defence. As a brand new team, and remember, brand new team, you haven't really defended properly until you get out here.
And I think as a team as well, they were probably put together relatively later. Obviously, the 3 set teams that have been the mainstay of the competition for the last few years, of course, is Alan Brooke, Joondalup, of course, and as that we hear the buzzer going now, and Freo. Although that's probably a worst kick of the night. That's something that hasn't been spoken about with the Bears. Comes an NRL franchise, and then what's the conversation about potential women's franchise in the future? Because recent history, WA has performed pretty well in that space. I know there's been some discussions about potential NRLW franchises coming out of Perth. So that's obviously the next progression, but we're going to have more young ladies, more young athletes pulling on the boots to play rugby league because of their franchise. So that'll only not just strengthen grassroots boys and men's, but it'll also strengthen grassroots women's as well. So hopefully entice some of those others that are playing the other code to come across and make this this game that's much more exciting their own as well. We've got to go to a break. Actually, before we do, I reckon we have a look at. Should we have a look at the highlights from ANZAC actually? So obviously the girls took on each other in the ANZAC Challenge on the weekend. This is some of the highlights: the Kiwis and City.
There's a couple of absolutely bustling runs throughout the entire weekend here. Always thought City were going to be in a little bit of danger early, but managed to get themselves up. It wasn't long though before the ANZAC's back started to fold on through. Always going to be good ball movement throughout this Kiwi side. Seen it for a couple of years to come, and it was a good little warm-up game for a couple of the Kiwis. Probably laid into why the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs did so well previously this evening.
Well, we'll show up a graphic as well. I saw it during the week because all the clubs put out their reps in ANZAC, and Ellenbrook had an arms list of players that were reps. But this game, I was lucky enough to call this game. My friend Bruno. Bit of an arm wrestle actually, especially in the second. The Kiwis managed to pull it back. City came out absolutely just opened them up. They probably could have put a few more points on in the end in that first half, but they left the door ajar and the Kiwis managed to bring it back. It was a fantastic tournament.
Probably one of the strongest franchises in the country is NRL WA at their special events. Whether you've got the City versus Kiwis, whether we're going at the Harmony Cup, we're always putting them on here over in the West. Plenty more action still to come in the second half here. Oh, it is 42-0. Don't go anywhere because they're going to be going for Ellenbrook's record in round one. We'll be right back after this with the second half. Welcome back. Second half just about to get underway. It's the Willagee Bears dominating the Kalamunda Bulldogs. Both new teams into the competition this year, and certainly one's had a better pre-season than the other by the looks of that first half, Dave.
You'd think so. I'd love to be a fly on the wall as we just have a look at the team of the week, as I was talking about. So the representations, and I love this because it's a combined team of the week. It's both the men's and the women's across the board. So, and look, there's quite a few Bears reps in that team there as well. So, so that's the team of the week. We saw the highlights from the women's game. The women's game I thought was a much better game than the men's game. We won't go into that. But just on this particular game that we're talking about now, I would love to have been a fly on the wall in the huddle for the Bulldogs. You know, what could have been said, I don't know.
What route would you have gone as a coach, Dave?
I would have said, again, like you were talking about, I just would have stuck with one particular thing. I would have just stuck with the tackles. So let's just try and get our tackles right. Let's hold our tackles, bring the players to the ground, and stop this run and slow it down. So that's better. That's better. So we'll see what happens.
Anna Young shoved the first couple. That's been that 19 in the clear headgear. Just a little soft on the outside shoulder a little bit. Gets run through again. Gets the Bears up to the opposition 40 and a little break through the line. Crafty ball over the top for Kanikosa. Then wrapped up pretty neatly. In a dangerous area though. Haven't been stopped once they got inside the 20 yet. Could be that start to the second half again. Matadi.
So again, legs is where you want to go.
Short side might be a little rub here. Instead they'll play a little more conventionally. Trying to break just straight through the centre again. Frost Kelamede. Short of the line.
Can they keep him out, Nick?
Could be just the scoring end up the other side of the ground if they can hold this one out. Wide kick. Overlap is clearly there. Just need to be clean.
Did she knock that on?
I think Mills has done a pretty good job out wide. I'm awarding it. She seems pretty happy about her efforts as well. Was awkward off the bounce. Managed to convert it into 46-0 kick to come.
It was a good kick, as well placed. They did have the numbers to spread on that far edge. So we just see it here.
Yeah, only the one spare out wide, and we can excuse that. I think if I'm coaching, I would have more gone the question of, well, I would have been asking questions, not of the players, of the group.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. So, and like I said in that first half, that I can't remember what it was, the third or the fourth try that the Bears had scored, but just ran around a pack, just watching it with hands on hips. And it's really difficult to deal with that as a coach. And probably the best way, I'll put the mocker on now.
No, Akka just can't kick from the right. I've identified her 0-3 on the right-hand side of the field.
100%. But from the Cala perspective, it's more of, well, I can't affect that, so you tell me. As a coach, I'm gonna say, well, what is it? What can I do for you? Well, what have you got to tell me? Because I can't go out there, I can't pick up the ball, I can't run it, I can't tackle it. So, what is it you've got for me?
Identity will probably be the question asked over the coming weeks. Who do the Bulldogs want to be? Certainly isn't this. They've certainly got the cadence on the walk back to burn minutes down though. A little bit of space to fill.
The most important thing for me is just being able to maintain the program. So Kalamunda's been one of those clubs that has flirted with the top flight, both in the men's and women's, for on and off for the last 10 or so years. The most important thing for me, if I'm down at up at, not really up, across at Kalamunda, is making sure that the programs are self-sustaining. So you can't expect a new team, especially a women's team, that's good, slowing it down, to be able to compete first up. But you need to be able to put some structure in place. As I said, a good run here. to maintain that program. Make sure you don't lose hope. Make sure you've got players that turn up each week. Straight from dummy half. Thought about the offload. It's Willagee. Again, quick ball movement. Skips it off to the right. She comes back inside. You're much better at these names, Nick, than I am. Slows it down now. This is a bit better. Dishes it off inside for Hodgson. She tries to go. She had half an arm free. She's dragged down in the end. Again, they want to go quick. The runner came from last week. Spreads it to the wide edge. Can she take it? I thought she might have dropped it. That tackle came in well. And is that?
That's a stop.
That's a stop! That is fantastic. That's the first one. It was a great tackle. Kanakosa thought she was going for the line, but came in. Good tackle. And in the end, that's the first defensive set that Kalamunda has been able to put together without the Bears scoring.
Saw one go out of play on the left tower. They've just dropped it straight behind. Don't call that loss forward. It clearly doesn't enjoy being a long-term referee in this game.
Last second scrum.
I'll take the scrum. Willagee Bears, they should be able to figure this out. Probably the best runner out there tonight so far. The number 4, Brianna Young, tends to take the first hit up most of the night.
And she's got 2 pies already, hasn't she?
Already got 2 pies. If she didn't offload them.
Yeah. I think she has. 2 up the guts. Oh, here's a bit of pace, and it's great to watch if you're a Willagee Bears fan. Tough to watch if you're a Calla, but she was only going one way. Zoe Gillard, and she's been impressive too. I don't know where they found these athletes. They obviously weren't playing last year.
It's a lot of new names in this Willagee Bears squad. They haven't just poached the competition. There's obviously a few we can identify, but certainly a rich vein of talent they've been able to find down in Willagee.
It's a good time too to be playing rugby league, especially if you're wearing the red and the black. So your theory is she's no good on the right, but she's pretty much...
It's a mental thing, though.
In front here.
She kicks very straight. Actually, it's a better setup. She is set up regularly. That's going through.
Oh, you called it well.
There's a subtle difference. When she's wider out on the right, she gets much straighter on the ball and just can't get the leg round on the arc.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I've identified it, and I've backed that in well. First winner of the night. 52-0. Raise the bat. Still plenty of footy left here. Funnily enough as well, the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs score has been edited online back down to 36-0, so hold your tickets if you had plus 40.
Okay, so there must be...
You probably won't be getting paid out there. Kaylee Thompson's still 6 from 6 on conversions though, so that's not an issue.
Yeah, you'd still, I'm guessing that personally well, that's not right. Is that the website saying it's 62?
So it could be the Rugby League app that's going a little bit funny on us tonight. We've got the correct score here at 52-0, but I was just checking Brianna Young for you, and yes, has 2 tries to her name.
Yes, I thought she did, yeah.
Time for the restart again. Back to the regular kicker. Send this one central right, deep enough. Willagee Bears have got a whole heap of room to run into, though. Milking that for all that we could. Yeah, probably just that last bit too long.
Last one. And there you go. And the referee's called it too. And that, I think that's clearly been a discussion at halftime from the coach. Slow that down. But it was that, yeah, the referee had it on the money. But look, if I'm a coach, I don't necessarily have an issue with that.
You got the response.
You got the response, yeah.
Acker nudges this one about 32 out. And they'll be set to run this one in again. First up tackle's a good one. Samoa out on the right-hand side, looks pretty keen to get this next pill. Cuts back on the inside. Marker was good enough to make the tackle. Set pretty wide out on the right-hand side here. Looking to get through a couple sets of hands after this tackle if they need to. Big 20 gets just half a metre out from the line. Still stacked right-hand side. Awkward play of the ball, player lying on the ground in the way of everyone trying to defend. And Olivia Foliaki, smart from half. We always have a few good halves in this competition, and probably read that better than most. The offside player on the ground just had a heaving gap to score over.
Yeah, I could see what she was doing. But at dummy half, just used her brain. See there.
56 to zip. This one is on an acute angle, so it could be still at just the, 2 or 3 misses for the night?
I think it's 3.
I think it's
she's
3.
She's right in front now. Is she right in front? No, she's not. But she's technically on the right.
7 out of 11 so far. This is the 12th attempt.
Oh, she's been flirting with the crossbar all night.
There's a certain arc from that 22-metre spot she kicks from. Yeah, if you don't get all of it, it's not going to get there. 20 minutes to go. Absolutely zero urgency to come off the line here, the Bulldogs.
There's a couple of smiles in there. Not enough for me.
Taking a look at the season ahead next week. Just loading up the fixtures now. Well, if Ellenbrook Rabbitohs could beat the Joondalup Giants 72 to zip or 36 to zip, whichever one it ends up being, well, they've got the Kalamunda Bulldogs next week. So there needs to be a massive response from Kalamunda. It is at Charlotte's Vineyard as well, so Ellenbrook Rabbitohs at home, 6:40 p.m. under lights, exactly where they want to be. Could be looking at a buffet-style affair if they're not careful. Then the Joondalup Giants will be taking on the Fremantle Roosters straight after that game, with the Willagee Bears on the bye in round 2.
And that'll be our feature game. And I'm really interested to see how the Giants respond after getting absolutely pantsed. Especially on their home deck. Spins out of that one. Still got it. Had her arm free. Thought about the offload in the end. Goes to ground. Does Gillard. Quick play the ball. McNally. Haven't called her a lot. Gillard again. The number 9. Olivia. Dummy half again. These tackles are again better from Kalamunda. They're slowing this down. She's getting up a bit gingerly there.
That's an ankle.
Oh, and she's muffed forward. That too.
Right ankle. Pretty sore here for Emily Mills.
That is. And that was in that tackle. Look, nothing untoward, but again, a bit more ferociousness in the tackle. I'm not suggesting that you want to injure someone, but we see it here on the replay. Oh, was that a hip drop? I hope not.
That's fine, technically.
Ankles are one of those things. We spoke about this with, I think I spoke about this with our mate, Sean Lindsay, last week, is they sting. It's like shoulders. You think, oh gosh, my world's come to an end, and then give it a bit of a stretch, rub it out, and then you'll run it out. You'll be fine. So,
a lot of active ligaments require a lot of tension to make the foot do the things that we humans do, and yeah, they certainly get tight quickly.
But again, they're tackling. The scoreboard might not reflect it, but their tackling in the second half has been significantly better. She's coming off for a rest. That's probably the good thing. You don't really need to risk it. Emily Mills, when your team is up 56-0, go have a rest, put some ice on it, go get some physio work on it. So it'll be a Cala ball. It was knocked on in the play the ball.
Haven't really had a look in the half yet, so if they can get over halfway.
Still plenty of talk from the sidelines. Support staff are still fairly energetic and active. This is, again, the first hit out. Can't expect to Take on the world, your first game, especially building a new team, coming into a competition that's been dominated by a couple of teams for a period now.
I want to see a bit of a spark here. I know it's their scrum feed, but give it a little push.
Yeah, why not? Well, they've got the forward pack. Why not do it?
Absolutely zero push, straight in and out.
She wants to go for a run.
Feeds it a little bit wide. Good control of the tackling space. Willagee Bears, they look like an educated outfit. Smith's ball out left, just a little bit slow to release. Need to be quicker from half here. One's just coming off the shins, allowed to play through. And they're just encroaching on halfway now. This will get them over. Nani.
No. The dummy half just off the foot as a referee call. Just calling her charges in, but no movement on that far edge. Had the arms free, and what's that? Is that a high? Yes. I'm not actually sure what she was thinking of there, because I think she left her feet to make that tackle. I had no idea why.
I think she just got wrong-footed.
Got
stuck and had to tackle.
Here it is on replay.
Well, that first one's high anyway, so that could have been it.
So that, I don't know why she's done that. That was Tara McNally, just getting a bit energetic. Here's at the first run. That's a great drive. Just little things that Cal need to do at the moment. There's a bit of movement on that far edge now. Straight through the guts. Well, they held up. Referee calls held. Dummy half wants the ball quickly. To the left. Just going to run and gun at the moment.
This is the most speed we've seen through a set so far.
Just want to put them under pressure, I think, at the moment. Just make them lay some tackles. They've got some numbers on the left there. Holds it up. Now swings it across. I'm not sure what that was for. There wasn't any movement on that far edge. Being driven back. Referee says held now. What can they do here? Can they complete a set? Number one. Don't have a name for her, but that's her second run in the six. On the last nick. Are they going to complete? Here comes the kick. No. Does she know it's the last?
No.
I don't think she did. So their comms are off there. And she looks at the referee. She definitely didn't know it was the last. But they completed a set. Just little things. The referee wants that to go back on the mark, I'm guessing.
About half a metre. Bears have got a long trip in here. So they'll look to make a statement out of this set. You could probably feel the longest they've had trip into the goals all half. Sets up for McNally. Really pins the ears through the centre of the ground. That's a good strong run.
Look at her go.
All the way through. Make it easy for your kicker, Inaka. And Tara McNally, easy.
She's been good in the second half as well.
Mm-hmm. Just slowly working her way into the fixture. It wasn't really required early in the piece, but you just like these little inside runs. Half a little goosey to get the momentum rolling. Stiff arm 1 and 2. Finds herself in a mountain of space. No fullback in play to affect any sort of late tackle.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team can do against the likes of Ellenbrook.
I think it's...
Look, it's only the first outing. And Ellenbrook structurally significantly different.
If you want to start thinking like that, Dave, I'd like to see the Bears for the last 12 minutes of this game move the ball a little bit, because they won't be doing this next week.
No,
they won't be doing this.
You can't go up the guts with the
you
Rabbitohs.
can,
well, you can,
but you're not going to score.
You
eventually you got to spin the ball.
Yeah.
And you've got time and space here tonight. Set really deep. I'm talking 4 metres back from your inside player. Run onto the thing. Another successful conversion. Pretty good record when you have to kick 13 of them.
Yeah, it's not bad. As we said, that run here again, straight up the guts, and that's what, 3 or 4 she's gone through. Again, I'm no expert on this, but she's come in through the line. The line was fairly deep, wasn't structured the way it needs to be. But especially that second last and last tackle, they didn't move their feet. So they've tackled it to the side. So you just got to stand in front of her run and just stifle it. Make her change direction at least. And then you might bring in your teammate to your left or your right. But just standing there and allowing her to run to your shoulder and then sticking your arms out ain't going to help, especially when you're coming in from last week with that sort of pace. And you've struggled with your tackles all night.
I would maybe say that's probably getting into a good point of the evening where you look at this squad and the size of them. Zero imposing has been done by the sizable squad tonight. They haven't really used any of that size to advantage. Everything's been at kind of an arm's length here this evening.
And then we just finished speaking about going up the guts.
Yeah.
So, again, if there's just some structural things, a really easy thing. And look, this could be, I don't know many names on this list, and we've been doing the women's game for quite a time. So, there could be quite a few girls that are new to rugby league. But there's some structure there. I just need to work on it.
Nice little chance to return up the centre of the ground again. No way through for Stowers at the moment.
They want to tackle. That's clear.
Better effort out of Nani in the 19 there. And they stop it through the middle again. I've liked the fullback in the 7. They've had the most intensity this evening. Penalty just holding on a little bit too long.
I reckon that was a bit harsh, that one.
I think that's just identifying a trend and picking the wrong one to go on. I'll tap from the centre of the field by the looks of things. Foliaki waits for any sort of whistle to go off. Hodgson. Nicely dragged down. 35 out. 10 minutes to go here. Out the side, Parker. Tackle completed. Good comms from the referee. She wanted to just run off with it then. Early kick goes wide. Easy enough for the winger to mark. Don't mind that as an option, just there wasn't really any conviction behind it.
No, there was no, I mean, that was a place to put it, out to the left, probably a little bit deeper. But I don't think the chase, they didn't put the catcher under any pressure there. But again, baby steps, another completed defensive set from Calla. They've just got to do something with the ball now. She just left that behind. And, I think I just need to shut up now because I keep putting the mocker on.
You've got to speak about what's coming, not what they're doing.
Well, again, slowing the ruck down. Brianna Young. I don't know why I'm talking about Brianna Young because Stokes goes over and gets it into that zone that we were speaking about. We're now into 66, so we're getting close to the 70.
I think it's going to happen.
Dahlia Stowers, I'm assuming that number is correct, goes over for her first of the evening. I think she's come off the bench as well.
Might just be that injury replacement.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But they came in with a pretty big squad
they
tonight.
When we get the wider shot, you can see they've got a good bench. And that's the other thing as well. New team coming up against clearly a fitter and quicker team that's got a bench and you don't. That's always tough.
7 on the bench tonight. The Bears came pretty full equipped. Acker directly in front. Came into about 18 metres that time and seems to have fixed the problem. So there's one thing she's forgot about during the entire pre-season. Fatigue. Last one was from still from 22, hit the crossbar. Now she brings it into 18 late in the game and no worries at all.
But she's been good, and again, it's great to see someone, because we mentioned Kaylee Thompson for Ellenbrook has just dominated on the boot for forever. I mean, if you want someone kicking for your life, you get Kaylee Thompson to do it. But it's now great we're seeing someone else in the competition, the women's comp. It's good off the tee.
And if the number's right on the Kalamunda Bulldogs, Marangi, the 17, is a pretty good kick-off kicker.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Could be well more utilised throughout the rest of this season.
Puts it nice and deep, and not in a hurry. I understand why. Maybe try and put some height on it. I know they're not a quick team.
Tricky with the technique that's being used, and this is the other kicker, so maybe this is the option at high, but I think this would be short left.
You called it.
Try to get a little roll on. That's just a pretty regulation up the middle. I think that came off the outside of the boot for a different intended kick. Kanikosa just waits on the run for a little bit before picking up speed into the line. No hole presented. Spin it out on the right for Willagee. Gets Faraka. Breaks the first couple. Wants to keep on with the run, but is eventually wrapped up by Mairangi. Deke on the right-hand side. McNally, long legs, straight through again. No fullback in play. They've kept the extra in the line again.
Is it their second or third?
And that brings up 72-0 with 5 minutes left on the clock and another conversion attempt. Pretty good evening, Tara McNally. I think that is just the second.
Yeah, second half she's been really impressive. Just looking across those lists, I mean, from the 1 to the 9, some really good runners. A lot of talent to build on. They seem to be a fairly tight-knit group as well.
There's a lot of chat out there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of chat. I've just realised there's a big spread of age as well. So
certainly a club we're going to get to know a lot more about as the season goes on.
This appears to be a spring in the step of both. Of course, I haven't seen any of the lower grades, but first grade they looked really impressive against Joondalup the other week, and really to see what this team can do against the likes of Joondalup and Ellenbrook and Freo.
You wonder about the home ground. How many fans can they get down? Can they make it a fortress?
It's a fantastic home ground. With the development that was there a couple of years ago, it's a fantastic home ground. The hill's really good.
Used to love touch there.
Yeah,
touch was a dream at Willagee.
Yeah, we had ANZAC Challenge there one year as well. The lights are exceptional. So probably some of the best lights in the competition.
Admiral Park will have something to say about it live on your screen here. It looks pretty nice.
Unless they've updated their lights.
No, they're the old fluoros still at Admiral.
The camera does well to pull as much light as you can, but it is probably the darkest ground in the comp. That's a ground if you. I'm hoping that some of the officials for the Giants have done their homework well during the election campaigns and leveraged their local members. Or there we go, something a bit different. The chase wasn't there though. Picks it straight up. There's Willagee. She wants to go for a run. She's still going. She's off to her left. Got runners again. Although good tackle. Was that Parker? No. That was Alex. Thought about dishing it to her right. Goes inside now. Samoa under a run, half a gap, still going, taken down by the coattails.
Spin it.
Here comes a kick early in the set. Good kick, too deep. Oh, she almost had it.
I think the two passes would have got that done. Yeah. The kick was good,
but you know, have a bit of fun.
Have a bit of fun.
But yeah, they did have the numbers out there. Probably the kick was a little bit too much.
Yeah, probably easy to grab that one as well. A little overexcited on the finish.
It would have been a great try. And you can hear the crowd all like moaning. Oh, it would have been fantastic on the highlight reel.
Gillard was in shave the end of your clavicle off territory, diving the corner, land on your shoulder. Couple minutes left. Well, Willagee Bears, well, they're going to be feeling pretty good after this one. Bulldogs soul searching. Question's going to be, who are we? What do we stand for coming into next week? Against last year's bridesmaids that have just kept their own scoreless scorecard. Surrendering underneath the tackle pretty early there. They're deep in their own half with nowhere really to go. Kalamunda Bulldogs, their fullback just dekes off the right foot, trying to shrug a couple off over into touch. And, well, minute 30 on the clock and a chance for one more here.
I like that. There's a bit of spunk. I don't have a name for the one, but she's...
Needed it.
You know, having a bit of a go, not giving up. Like
57 minutes ago, I needed it though. One last roll of the dice here.
For me, the opening round, the talking point has to be the earlier game. Has to be.
I want to do a little bit of deep diving through
we
next
need
week,
to.
find out what happened with Joondalup.
Yep.
In fact, I didn't even look at their squad. Well, we've got a minute left in this one. We'll focus on what's probably going to be the last try of the evening. Held 5 metres short. Right-hand side, the call. Oh, fakes them all out. Nice crafty
play.
Ball on the inside. Defence
Good
holds
tackle.
up. Gee, the best piece of rugby we've seen is the first one. They've stopped on the line here, the Kalamunda Bulldogs, but they're not out of danger yet. 3 passes into the corner. McNally gets a hat-trick.
Yes, she's got a hat-trick.
That actually ends up in a pretty good state of play. We all like that. Another try for the Willagee Bears, and Adrian Acker gets to kick from the sideline to wrap this evening up.
Her toughest kick of the evening. That was actually a pretty entertaining passage of play there. They thought they were over.
Look, and I'm not going to read off the entire team list on playrugbyleague.com, but I wouldn't call that Joondalup Giants.
Oh, really?
There's a few there. Muntz is there, Foxcroft, Munro, Makika, Terrierere is there, June Kelly Maru is there, but there's, unless the interchange
Stevens?
was just no Stevens.
Stevens, well, that's a question. Has she finally pulled the pin? I hope not.
I hope not.
Oh, was she played? Did she play on the weekend?
Probably, and there's no one listed on interchange here either, so they were either undermanned or not uploaded.
Okay.
No excuses, though, to not score a try. At home, round 1, Premiers.
Yeah.
Acker from the corner.
Toughest kick of the evening. Oh, I tell you what. Oh!
And that brings us to a wrap for this evening. Final score, the Willagee Bears 78 to the Kalamunda Bulldogs 0. They will be rolling on into next week facing the Premiers, looking for their first points of the season. Whether that be on the ladder or just on the scoreboard in general. But the Willagee Bears, Dave, you've picked a good one to support early. It can only go downhill from here, I could say, though.
Well, the Bears are up and about. We're seeing on the screen, full of energy. I think the club's up and about. And that's it's a great time to be a Bears supporter for a variety of reasons. And we are at the Den. I'm going to call it the Den. I don't know if they call it the Den. We'll be at the Den tomorrow for the Fuel to Go Play Premiership when the Bears, their first home game in the first grade, back in first grade. But today we've seen the 2 new teams in the Westpac Women's Premiership. Plenty of footy to come for this team in the red, and as you see an embracing, that's good to see. And plenty to work on for Kalamunda. I think the second half was better. The scoreboard might not have shown it, but they looked better. The structure, they looked better. I didn't see a lot of standing around with hands on hips watching ball carrier run around you in the second half. There's some glimpses there, so plenty to work on. They just need to knuckle down.
Knuckle down, find an identity.
Yep.
Figure it out, whether it's going to be through the middle with hard ball, whether it's going to be with tackling pressure, or whether it's going to be, look, we're going to try win these games on luck, but show us that little bit of movement around the park. That'll all come to fruition over the coming weeks, because we do have the 5-team competition this year, so only so many bye rounds you can hide behind. That's a wrap down here at Admiral Park. 78-0, I believe the score was at the end of the day there, around about that mark. So Willagee Bears get their first win back in the competition over the Kalamunda Bulldogs. I've been Nick Neary, that's been Dave McRae. We're getting out of here now. We'll see you all next week.